You can put on different genres of music to experience different emotions, to amplify certain emotions, or to shift certain emotions. I know there are times in my day, if I'm feeling frustrated, if I'm feeling stuck in my day, I will put on a happy song. I will get up, I will dance around, I will move the energy. And simultaneously, I know that sometimes if I'm in a down mood and I want to lean into the sadness and I want to amplify it and I want to feel it more, I will turn on some of those songs that pull at my heartstrings that really get that emotion up and out. Ketamine Connections, welcome back. Today's topic is one that to me is the most shocking element of the ketamine space, and that is what music to use during the journey. I am consistently floored by how little guidance is given on this topic, and that is what we're going to dive into today. A lot of listeners of this show are new to ketamine, and honestly, if that's you and you're anxious or just someone who likes to feel prepared, then you know that ketamine can be beautiful and it can also be overwhelming. Most clinics will not tell you this, but preparing for ketamine is what turns a confusing, chaotic trip into a grounded, life-changing experience. The ketamine preparation protocol is your go-to guide to walk you through that door with confidence. I've used this exact framework with clients since 2021 to help you feel safe, supported, and ready. And the feedback is always the same. I'm so glad I had this before my first journey. So whether you've already started ketamine or you're about to, if you're wondering, what if I do it wrong? Just don't wonder, prepare. Head to the link in the show notes and get started with the ketamine preparation protocol so that you can get the transformation that you deserve. This is a question that people have been asking me about for years, and it's actually a question that someone has written in with. I actually just got this question on a one-on-one call with a client today of like, okay, what do I listen to? And obviously there's a lot of different music out there. I am not here to tell you what to listen to in your everyday life. And honestly, if you were to collide with my playlists and my music genres, it is literally so vast. I love all sorts of music. So, what we're talking about today is not what you should listen to in your everyday life, what you should listen to after the journey, even, but really what is relevant for in the journey. And it's surprising to me that there's not more guidance on this because it is actually really important. And in fact, in the indigenous traditions where psychedelic medicine comes from, music is the original shaman. Okay. And I think if you were to think about it for a minute, you would know, okay, if you put on a sad song, you're going to feel your mood kind of simmer down. And if you put on a really happy song, your mood might lift. So you can control your mood by controlling the music. And that is why it's so important to have quality music in your ketamine journey. And the music that you listen to in your everyday life is maybe not the music that you bring into your ketamine journey. I know that there's a lot of music that I listen to that I would never journey with for a few reasons. And we're going to dive into that today. So don't worry, we'll get into all of those topics. After doing this work for 4 years, I remember 3 years ago, there was a client who told me they were having a certain experience in the journey. And I was poking around, just getting clarity on why this person might be experiencing this particular mood and this particular reaction to the medicine that I hadn't heard much of. All reactions are obviously valid, but this one was particularly disturbing to this client. And so we were poking around, getting more insight. And then I asked, what music are you listening to? And this client was a real fan of heavy metal music. And honestly, there is some heavy metal music that I really enjoy as well. And I used to listen to it a lot when I was younger. And here's the thing with heavy metal music. One, there's lyrics that maybe you don't want implanted into your subconscious mind. And a lot of metal music is dissonant, right? So it's not coherent, right? When you listen to, say, classical music, there's a coherence to the music that travels through the experience and the journey of listening to it. There are some classical music tracks that I will play in my yoga classes for like a really nice long shavasana that really take you on a journey. And that is the same of the journey music that you're listening to in your ketamine sessions. Music influences your brainwave state. It influences your coherence, and it absolutely focuses on emotional processing. Like I was saying earlier, you can put on different genres of music to experience different emotions, to amplify certain emotions or to shift certain emotions. I know there are times in my day, if I'm feeling frustrated, if I'm feeling stuck in my day, I will put on a happy song. I will get up, I will dance around, I will move the energy. And simultaneously, I know that sometimes if I'm in a down mood and I want to lean into the sadness and I want to amplify it and I want to feel it more, I will turn on some of those songs that pull at my heartstrings that really get that emotion up and out. There are so many journey playlists out there on Spotify is where I listen to music. There are so many journey playlists and I really recommend looking through some and seeing what resonates with you, listening to them when you're in a calm state, putting it on, and maybe going through the whole playlist or maybe even making your own. I'm a little bit of a playlist nerd. I've been teaching yoga for a long time, so I love a good playlist. I love curating a good playlist. And if that's not your thing, there are a lot of playlists out there. You can also find tracks that are really long, that are maybe theta healing tracks or sound healing tracks. The thing that I want you to consider is you want something that is going to go the duration of your ketamine journey and probably beyond. A lot of times it takes extra time to land from the journey, right? I know for me, it takes anywhere from 10 minutes to one time it took me up to an hour to land from a ketamine journey. And so you want the music to keep going so that you can float back into the room and not have an abrupt shift, not an abrupt end to the journey of the music that is also influencing the journey of the ketamine. So, here are some best practices for a good journey playlist. One, choose music that does not have lyrics. Even if the lyrics are positive, even if the lyrics are subconsciously sound, which I talk about a lot on this show, is there's language that speaks directly to the subconscious mind, and there's language that tricks or manipulates the subconscious mind. So, even if there's music that is very highly vibrational, that is very the messages that you want implanted into your subconscious mind, I still recommend choosing music that does not have words, that is ambient, that is able to take you through the journey without influencing it with language. Because the truth is, while there is certain music that I love to listen to in my everyday life, right? The tracks that I come back to over and over again, sometimes every day, I don't know how I'm going to experience that journey. And so if it's something that is very positive, but the journey is taking me through a processing of grief that has gone unprocessed or something sad that I haven't been feeling, then that is also creating dissonance. And so really curating a track that has space for whatever you're feeling. And that's why I really advocate for that ambient music, like the sound bowls, the theta healing, and things like that. You want the playlist to be seamless. In Spotify, again, there's other platforms as well. There's a setting called crossfade. And this is, by the way, the trick for every yoga instructor knows is when you put on the feature of crossfade, it blends one song into the other. And so you can choose up in Spotify, you can choose up to 12 seconds. And so that means that the last 12 seconds of one song will begin playing the next 12 seconds or the next part of the song of the next song. And so the transition between songs is really smooth and it goes from one song to the other without those markers in time that could be disruptive to the journey. In that way too, you want to avoid sharp noises or any sharp instruments, right? If there's like a loud drumming or a loud saxophone, that could be really disruptive to your ketamine journey as well. Again, there's no way to predict how you're going to be in the journey, where you're going to be, what state you're going to be, what emotion you're going to be processing, or how to align the playlist with that unknown, with the mystery that you're going into. And whether you're making your own playlist or you are choosing someone else's, make sure that you play the playlist all the way through. And here is something that I really want to emphasize. If you are using a player like Spotify, like YouTube, there's all these different ones that have commercials if you're not paying for the service. I want you to do one of two things. Either find a track that you can download that will play all the way through without interruption, without commercials, or start paying for a service so that you can have that luxury as well. You don't want commercials to come on in the middle of your ketamine journey. You don't want things to disrupt the flow because you really don't know where in the process you're going to be. And it could be tragic, honestly, to have something interrupt your ketamine journey. Also, when you're checking and testing your playlist, do it in a calm state, like really give it the attention that it deserves. Lay down and listen to the playlist all the way through and make sure that it has the space for all those different emotions that might come up in your ketamine journey. And in some cases, it might be nice to have a backup playlist, right? Maybe have one or two or three playlists that if your one is going through and you're like, oh, I really thought this was going to be it, but it's not, you have the ability to quickly switch to another one or call someone in to help you if no one is in the room with you trip sitting. And something that I've been testing personally in my journeys and also suggesting to clients and have been having really good feedback on is the use of subliminals in ketamine journeys, honestly, in any journey. Now, if you're not familiar, subliminal tracks are there's two levels to the track. So the top track that you're hearing with your conscious mind is meditative music, ambient, sort of clouds floating in the sky type of music. But underneath that, there are affirmations that are speaking directly to your subconscious mind. So it's a way to kind of break through that gate of the guardian of the conscious and subconscious mind and go directly into the subconscious mind. Now, I've talked about this before of, affirmations are not a one size fit all because we're all in different places of our journey and our subconscious minds have different levels of receptivity to different suggestions, right? For someone, a certain suggestion might be really empowering and amps them up and builds them up and gives them a lot of confidence. And the same suggestion to a different person in a different state of their journey in life, etc., might be devastating. It might cause, just a lot of not great feedback. And so, again, there is a language to the subconscious mind. And the language of the subconscious mind, there's little tips and tricks that bypass that critical factor, that override that yes, no, black, white, good, bad that the subconscious mind is always living in. And that's important to know because even if you are not fully at the place that you want to be at, for example, confidence, right? If, for example, you are not fully confident in one area of your life and you want to build confidence, if you sit down and you say, I am confident, I'm confident, I'm confident, the guardian of the mind is going to kick that out and you might actually cause bigger gap between where you are and that confidence that you seek. There are other ways of saying that affirmation. For example, I'm working towards confidence. Your subconscious mind can't argue with that. I am open to feeling confident. Your subconscious mind cannot argue with that. So whenever I'm working with subliminals, I actually make my own because I don't know what subliminals are in the YouTube tracks that I'm listening to. These are not sources that I trust. And I don't know, even with the best intentions, I don't know if they're going to be suggestions that my subconscious mind accepts or denies. The reason that you hear the tracks differently is because the conscious mind has a different processing speed than the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind processes at 10 million bits per second, and the conscious mind only 40 to 50. And so the subconscious mind is picking up on stimuli that the conscious mind is not aware of. And this is happening all the time. It's not just with music, it's not just with sound, it's with billboards, it's with commercials. It's, the reason we have product placement in movies because those quick glimpses of a certain brand of laptop or a certain brand of soda or a certain brand of sneakers or a certain brand of jeans, it's registering in the subconscious mind, even though it's just a little blip on the screen. And so with the subliminals, I'll include a link down below because I've given workshops on subliminals. I love offering people personalized subliminals to advance whatever journey you're in. And inside the ketamine preparation protocol, I actually have 3 subliminals that are all subconsciously sound. One is for self-love, one is for confidence, and one is for trauma healing. And all of the affirmations within those speak to wherever someone is in their journey because they are all speaking in that way that is subconsciously sound. So in the ketamine preparation protocol, those subliminal tracks are an hour and 11 minutes long. And I will shoot a quick 10-minute sample in the show notes so you can get an idea of what a subliminal track sounds like. And just know that all of the affirmations in there are designed to meet you wherever you are in your journey. Okay, that is the episode for today. I wanted to make it short and sweet. I am in the process of getting someone on here that can talk more eloquently and more into the depth of music that is really profound, right? Again, the original shaman are music. And so, really, in the indigenous societies, musicians were using instruments and sound to manipulate different parts of our energetic body, our emotional body. And you can do that again. You can also do that with your own playlist, right? You can put on happy music to amplify happy or to shift a negative mood. You can put on sad music to really sink into sadness or to put yourself into a sad state if you that's what you like. I don't believe in a hierarchy of emotions, so it's if you're sad, feel sad. If you're happy, feel happy. If you want to change your state, you can use music. That is a brilliant tool to do that. So, to sum up today's episode, you want to choose music that has no language. You want to choose music that is subtle throughout, that doesn't have like large sounds or interruptions, whether those interruptions are a certain instrument or a commercial, because you really want that music to carry you through your journey and make space for whatever is in your experience, whatever emotions, whatever memories, whatever comes up. You want it to carry you through and somewhat neutral to make space for any experience. You definitely want to check your playlist and make sure that it flows the way that you like, that it's making space for all the different emotions, and that it feels good to listen to. You definitely want to make sure that you are not using a streaming service that is going to interrupt with commercials. And in certain states, you might want to use the same playlist over and over. Again, you can have those backups, one, two, maybe three playlists so that you have options. And something that I really like to do is the music that I listen to in my journey, I like to listen to it through my integration, whether I'm meditating, walking in nature, or doing different practices of relaxation, because the music has that memory that's going to bring me back to that state, and it might bring something up, it might shift something without me even recognizing it. And the final thing is, if you want to amplify the efficacy of the ketamine to really make use of that neuroplasticity, whether you're journeying with subliminals or using subliminals outside of your journey to amplify whatever it is that you're working on, I'll have that link in the show notes so you can download a sample. You can look at the subliminals on YouTube as well. Like I said, I like to create my own. I create subliminals for clients as well to really amplify what they are going through so that they're personalized to their journey and personalized to their subconscious mind. So thanks for tuning in to this short and sweet episode. If you have any questions, my contact information is in the show notes. Please reach out. And eventually, we'll have another guest on here that will talk more in depth about music for journeying. Can't wait for that. I've been asking so many people over many months, and it is going to align. And until then, I just wanted to get this information into your hands. And thanks for being here with me on Ketamine Connections. Thank you so much for tuning into Ketamine Connections with me today. If this episode supported you, the best way to say thank you is by sharing it or leaving a review. And if you're enjoying the show and you want to connect more, I would love to see you on my newsletter. That is where I share behind the scenes insights, thoughtful guidance, and other parts of your ketamine journey. Never spam, always fun. And honestly, since getting kicked off of social media in 2024, it's where I share the real stuff. I share stories, tools, updates that I don't post anywhere else. So sign up at any of the links in the show notes, and you'll be the first to know when I'm hosting live Q&A or when I'm doing other fun things that are not available anywhere else. It's the best place to hear about it, stay connected, and grow together. All right, that is all I have for today. Thank you. Stay curious, and I'll see you next time.